Want to hear the stories behind the stories on Expedition Texas? Check out Expedition Texas, the podcast, presented by Crazy Water. Get it wherever you get your podcasts. One thing you'll find in every Texas town is that our ancestors made time for entertainment. Stages and screens appeared in various forms as far back as the beginnings of some of these towns. In 1907, Anson, Texas was on the rise. The West Texas town near Abilene was the county seat of Jones County, so it made sense that on a trip into town for court, taking in a bit of entertainment would be a nice end to the day. It was in 1907 that the Anson Opera House was completed. At one time, it was the largest venue between Fort Worth and El Paso. This is the story of the Anson Opera House.
Texas is full of lost history, from lost cemeteries to abandoned buildings, from the infamous to the obscure. Hitch a ride and travel across the Lone Star State, looking for hints of Texas' colorful past, our lost history. This is Expedition Texas, and we're gonna find it.
Anson, Texas was originally known as Jones City, named after Anson Jones, the fourth and last president of the Republic of Texas. Jones was an MD, and during the Texas Revolution, he served as a judge, advocate, and surgeon to the Texas Army. After the war, Jones returned to Brazoria and resumed his medical practice. By the 1830s, he was involved in Texas politics, and by the end of the Republic of Texas was serving as the final president of Texas. As an honor, Jones County and Jones City, later Anson, were named after him. Anson, the city, flourished, and an emblem of the opulence there was the Anson Opera House. Mike Herndon, a local horse rancher and friend of the Anson Opera House, to tell us about it.
The Anson Opera House was built in 1907. It's had wrestling matches, it's had piano recitals, it's had plays, which I don't think you saw this, but on the back there's a beam coming out of the second floor. And one of the plays, they hired the sheriff and they wanted a horse. So they lifted the horse to the second floor. In that there was a bigger door there at the time. But anyway, they lifted the horse up on pulleys and ropes and had him in the play, and then, but it was kind of unique. This was, I think, the biggest opera house for its time anywhere near Fort Worth. I'm not sure about that, but I think it was true.
Hey Mike, how's it going, man?
Good. Glad to have you here.
So I'm just inside the entrance here, and I see a set of stairs, but I expected to walk in and the Opera House would be here, but it's actually upstairs.
The people were tougher then.
Yeah.
When they built it.
Yeah, we could head upstairs and see So what was this bottom floor though?
A grocery store.
A grocery store. So over here was a grocery store, but people could go in this door and up these stairs and get their ticket and go see whatever was happening.
Yeah, basically. When we rebuilt this opera house, the stairs were a lot steeper.
Really?
Yeah, apparently back in 1907, people were a lot tougher.
Well, yeah.
And we figured out that if we wanted people up here, we had to give them a little bit more to go on. Through these doors of the Anson Opera House.
Oh, wow. We're in Anson, Texas to explore the historic 1907 Anson Opera House, once considered the largest entertainment venue between Fort Worth and El Paso. We're headed in to see what remains with local rancher and friend of the Anson Opera House, Mike Herndon.
Here's where, when you came in to see the play or whatever, you bought your tickets. There's a little ticket booth.
A little ticket window here, and look, it's even got the theme of the theater here. I love it. And I guess this was a concession?
Yeah, this we think is where the original concession.
Well, it seems to be kind of fixed up for it. Can I get you some popcorn or make you a hot dog, sir? Before we go in.
And that is one of the things we served. No, when we first started renovating it, it didn't look like this.
Yeah.
And to serve food, it's got to look a little better than so. And we made a pretty good profit on it.
Well, good. This is cool. So it's probably not the exact layout that it was, but it makes sense that that's what this would have been.
No, I have no idea what they serve. And through these doors is the Anson Opera House.
Oh, wow. This place is huge.
Yes, I think 270 people roughly.
Now
it was sold out once.
These seats look newer. Would these be later additions?
They're a donation, I believe, from Abilene Christian College when they redid their theater 30 years ago.
Wow, and orchestra pit down here. I guess original hardwood floors.
Yes.
And what is this?
That is the heat source. There was a boiler in the basement, and when you look through the brickwork and downstairs, you'll see tunnels coming up, and this is how the
heat would rise up through these grills. In fact, there is the damper here, where you could close it off. That one isn't connected anymore.
Two more of these that we didn't put back. That were about halfway up.
Wow. That is very cool, and I can see down into there too. Wow. Well, I like that. That's pretty cool to see that still in existence here. But I'm admiring this curtain here on the stage. This actually looks kind of new, Mike.
It's a reproduction of the original curtain. The original curtain was velvet, and we found the company that made it. And they said it would be prohibitive to redo it, and it wouldn't last that long.
Yeah, like to restore the original.
So they restored this exactly to the detail of the original.
The bank, Anson State Bank, equipped to satisfy your every reasonable want. Not every want, every reasonable want.
And I'm guessing Anson State Bank was right next door.
Probably so. Well, there's a First National Bank too. I guess advertising what they the cash on hand there, and then the T.A. Graves Fountain, and of course Howell Drug Store was here as well, right?
Yeah, it was downstairs.
Wow.
This is a stage which
are these curtains?
We did a few.
Part of the original?
No, they were a donation from one of the colleges in Abilene.
Awesome.
Which worked out very well for both of us. They didn't need them, and we did.
Right. I guess somebody had a production here that needed a table and apparently a pretty big back wall to their set.
Yes, that was. They used it and didn't want it anymore, so.
Yeah.
So it's now ours.
And the good old backstage area. Look at these ropes and everything. Oh wait.
All these we replaced when we originally did the Opera House.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's some heavy stuff they're holding up there.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of rod up there.
Yeah. Danger, do not alter curtain lines. If you do so, and if anyone survives having a 200-foot batten fall on them, you will have learned a valuable lesson the hard way. Lots of props from different productions stored down here, but oh wow! So this was, I guess, where all the air came from, huh? This week we're visiting the 1907 Anson Opera House in Anson, Texas. We'll get back to our tour of the Opera House in just a moment, but first, an invitation to check out our new Expedition Texas podcast. Expedition Texas, the podcast, is presented by Crazy Water and is an audio deep dive into the story of historic locations in Texas.
Okay, so Victory Lake was one of the first original water sources for the city of Tyler when you had a official water source. Bellwood Lake is another one, but Victory Lake was right in the heart of town. However, I have recently seen an aerial shot where the lake was still there.
Really?
Yeah, and what's now UT Healthy's Texas is there too.
Yeah.
And it was built in the 50s. So that lake was still there in the 50s.
Wow, I had no idea. We'll even introduce you to Expedition Texas crew members and hear stories of our travels across Texas. Those don't even make it into reruns anymore.
I don't even think you have that footage anymore.
It's a lost episode. I have no idea where it is.
Because you're going to save it for a Halloween episode.
Yeah, it was great. But it was this old house, they told the whole story of it. Out behind it was a collapsed, and I mean literally folded in upon itself, church. And Sean and the gentleman that was our guide found a snake. He reacted in a very fun way. Sean reacted by putting the camera on a pole and holding it down there so that we could get shots of the snake. We had to bleep the guy because he was
colorful.
Typical snake response. Expedition Texas, the podcast. Listen to it wherever you get your podcasts or watch video of the interviews on our YouTube channel. Find more at expeditiontexas.tv. Now we're back to the Anson Opera House, where we're touring the historic venue with Mike Herndon. And I guess down here, where now you have modern heating and cooling, going to this floor, you would have had, I guess, a boiler in here somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's off the stairs to your right, another right,
Okay.
and there's a basement.
Ooh.
And you can pretty well see how
There's a basement under this?
yeah. Now, you should be able to see where all the boiler
All right.
vents went. And
Oh, wow. Check this out. Remnants of the grocery store. So definitely can tell this was the back area of the grocery store because somebody was playing with the price gun and marked, I guess maybe they were testing it. But
playing with the gun.
yeah,
the gun
playing is probably the right word. And then I guess this would go out and this, I guess was this like a back room area of the
No,
store?
this was a stock room.
Wow. You can go out
Main
into
stock room. They didn't use upstairs for a stock room much.
Yeah.
Unless they had an overflow, but there was a chicken wire cage that went right about.
Wow. Of course, that's into the hall that people rent now, but that's a cool old back room door there. And you said we can get to the boiler somehow from in here,
Yeah.
or the basement. No boiler anymore, huh?
No, all that's gone. This is the furnace, or the original furnace and storage now. But
Oh,
it's a 3-story, and where the ghost is, so I forgot that.
okay. The ghost. Wait a minute.
We'll just shut this door and come back tomorrow, and you can let us know if you see any.
Lots of props from different productions stored down here, but oh wow! So this was, I guess, where all the air came from, huh?
Yeah, this is the boiler was down here. I don't know exactly where. I assume it was back here because these. Well, you can't tell it on that one now, but you can on these two and this one.
Uh-huh.
These are the channels where the heat.
Oh wow! Yeah.
When we started redoing this, we didn't think that needed to be part of our design.
Right. There was a Halloween production at some point. Something a little spooky here.
That may be the ghost.
We'll just keep him here so he scares whoever comes down the stairs. How about that?
You can see some of the old construction right along in here.
This week's Expedition Texas Spotlight City is Troop, Texas. Troop straddles Smith and Cherokee counties in East Texas and is a town that has moved with the railroad.
The city of Troop was not located where it currently is. It was in what was called Knoxville, which was just a few miles down the road. And when the railroad said, this is where the track's going to be, they picked up and they moved town to where it is currently.
And there was a time where the railroad presence in Troop was important for all of East Texas.
There was a time when if you wanted to travel by rail out of East Texas, you didn't go to Tyler, you didn't go to Longview, you came to Troop.
My great-great-grandfather came to this part of Smith County to have his kids in education in Oman at a Summer Select Academy, I believe was the name of it. Counting my grandkids, 7 generations ago of my family have been here, and it surrounded the railroad.
And Troop, Texas has earned the reputation of being a good neighbor town, as business owner Cindy Steele proudly shares.
We have many people moving in here from all over the United States, and I would hope and think that they had found Troop to be a good neighbor town.
And people from Troop always tend to come back to Troop, as Mayor Jeff Hale tells us.
In 2005, I moved back to Troop and ended up purchasing the home that my father was born in 1934. When my grandkids are playing in my yard or on my property, 7 generations of Hales have walked that ground.
So from 1800s railroad town to a quiet community with amazing schools, Troop remains the good neighbor town, and that's why they are this week's Spotlight City. We're in Anson, Texas, touring the historic Anson Opera House. We've seen many of the public areas of the building, but we're about to get into some off-limits areas and try to make sense of their use during the 20th century heyday of this venue. All right, let's go back upstairs. It's a little damp and musty down here.
Cooler.
Yeah.
Here is a beam up there that was wooden.
Yeah.
That in one of the plays they hired the sheriff and his horse, and they took a pulley, a blocking pulley, and lifted the horse up, put him on the stage, got through with the play, and let him back out.
Really? So up here, I guess this would be, this is a stage, this isn't really a fire escape, this is more of a stage entrance backstage, right?
Yeah. If necessary, it's a fire escape.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll work for that too.
I'm not going to walk up that way unless you need me.
Bring the horse up with the pulley on the beam, load him right into the stage.
There was a platform there.
Yeah.
But
long time ago.
yeah. Well, when we had to redo it, we had to have a back way out.
Yes.
If I can get the lock off here, we can look at the balcony.
This little door and the little oh, looky there. You didn't have that locked after all.
You're right.
Uh-huh, cool.
Okay.
Oh, this is neat.
You can see some of the old construction right along in here.
Now those old slats, what do you know what that is in between them?
Mortar, I assume.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea, to answer your question.
Okay. Well, that's okay. We can just make something up.
This is the balcony. I don't think it was ever used for seating because it's flat.
Yeah, this is all flat. Looks like this is kind of like modern plywood, like they adjusted it and made it this way.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was some damage because the roof is before we put this in.
Yeah. But here it is. What a view of the stage from up here.
Our sound and lighting.
Yeah.
That's what all this stuff is. And it's perfect for that because the guy can sit here and do whatever he needs to do.
Yeah.
And he's got a clear view.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can see it and hear it all and has the bird's eye view of everything that's going on. You know, Mike, it's kind of cool to think about all the people that walked up these steps to kind of take in a show here from way back in, I mean, well over 100 years in Anson.
Well, that's what that's our thinking when we started doing this. So it's kind of kind of a passion project for.
Yeah.
There's 12 people on the board.
12 people. Well, if those 12 people can get this place back up and running, a lot more people can see this place.
That's what our hope is, and we're not as far from it as it looks like in places.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, thanks for showing us around, man.
Glad to have you. Come back anytime.
Let's go ride a horse.
I said I raised them. I didn't say I rode them.
Okay.
I don't bounce as well as I used to.
Anson is considered part of the Abilene metro area, but at one time was the place to take in a show on the ample stage at Anson Opera House. Like many of the towns we visit, there are those working to keep its memory alive. Maybe telling this story will help. Down the road, there's another lost legend waiting to be discovered, and on Expedition Texas, we're going to find it.